going on, everyone? How you doing? Today we're going to talk about the Episode 9 final battle. Now, this is something that I think could have been done a lot better in the film. Regardless what your views are on the movie, I personally liked it from the limited possibilities that we got from Episode 8. I think it was executed quite well. Now, going into this, I want you to keep in mind that, of course, this is just a fan fiction ending in my point of view. Yours might be totally different. So, let's start at the point where Rey and Kylo get their life essence sucked out of them by Palpatine. It was a really cool scene. Palpatine becomes, pretty much full power. All the Sith live through him, Sith eyes. He takes down the whole rebellion fleet above using a Force storm, which is very cool Force power. And he's just pretty much unstoppable. He's unlimited power in this at this moment. I would have liked to see that carry on a little bit longer. We've waited so long for him to, come back. And now that he is back, we want to see him in full power. We want to see him carried on a little bit more than just, the quick ending that we got. It was still cool. Okay, this takes me to the other part that really would have sealed the deal, and I'm pretty sure most fans out there who hate the film would have actually been okay with this if this actually happened. So, here it is. Kylo gets up first, because I feel in this film he was just portrayed as much stronger than Rey. At least in some of the duels. He gets up first. Palpatine throws him into the pit, says, as I have fell, so will you. So he's gone. He's out of the picture for now. Rey is kind of just like rolling over, and she's out of it. She doesn't have enough energy to get up. It's over. It's done. The Force ghosts give her all that energy. Okay, she didn't have that energy, and that's why she dies right after, right? Otherwise, she would have just been like, I'm okay. They temporarily give a living unit, a living person, that energy in the Force. They transfer that, all of them together, and she was able to stand up to Palpatine. Now, here's the problem that I have with it. I would have wanted that to play out longer, but I also would have wanted one other thing, which would have brought all of the fandom together. I really, really think. And you can tell me if I'm wrong or full of it. She would have gotten up. The lightning that Palpatine just used, the Force Storm, to take out the fleet, would now be hitting her, Leia's lightsaber, and it would have been ricocheting. As she, we saw, it was very difficult for her to keep that stable because it was so powerful. I would like for that lightsaber to get knocked out of her hand, just like what happened to Yoda's in Revenge of the Sith when Palpatine used the lightning. Now she's rendered immobile. Palpatine says his line, whatever it was, this will be the final word of the rebellion or whatever. And he's just about to go, and then he stops. And we see the Force ghost of Mace Windu. We heard his voice, so we know he's there. And he's like, and then we see the Force ghost of Qui-Gon Jinn over there. Then we see the Force ghost of Yoda. Then Luke. Then Leia. Who else do we see? Ahsoka, or here. Adigalia, Aayla Secura, Kanan. And he's just about to fire again, when we then see right in the middle, behind Rey, Anakin Skywalker walks into the scene. And as he's walking, he just materializes and turns into this Force ghost demigod kind of dude. And he just says one line. I don't know. I'd have to give it more thought. He would, I don't know you. He would just say something cool. And actually, let me know what he says in the comments down below. What would you want him to say? Just one something. Or maybe he doesn't even say anything. They all reach out their hands. They close their eyes. And they power Rey. And she's pretty much staggering or whatever. They power her. The lightsabers flow back into her hands. Or I don't know, we could do something maybe a little cooler with that. Maybe she's a little, maybe she reaches out with the Force, just like they are. All of them are reaching out with the Force with one hand, and then she reaches out with the Force. Palpatine gets really angry. We see his eyes flare red, and he just fires red Sith lightning, or just some, I don't know, maybe a different color or something. Fires it at them, at her, and she has her hand out, and she is struggling crazy and using diminished. This is what Yoda used. It allows you to block lightsaber attacks and lightning and all that stuff for a limited amount of time, depending how powerful you are. She's having a really hard time. And Palpatine is, we hear the music, and Palpatine's and she's just And then she brings both hands up, and she's trying to control it, but she's getting like pushed back a lot. And so at this point, she's struggling immensely. Great deal. Palpatine's having the upper hand, and she's being pushed back. Both hands are out. However, now this is when the Force Ghosts really start to talk to her and motivate her. And they each take one step forward at a time. And with each step, she summons the courage within her. As they're powering her, it's not her who's doing this. It's them powering her, and she takes it forward with each one of their steps. They take a step forward, she takes a step forward. Palpatine's becoming very cautious and very afraid at this moment. This mirrors the Starkiller versus Darth Sidious moment that we got in the Force Unleashed games. The gap starts to close in. The Force Ghosts are nearing Sidious as he sees them all around him and becomes just a little bit claustrophobic as she comes closer, and she's struggling really hard, but you can tell that all of the energy is being passed through her by the Force Ghosts, by the Jedi. And he's like, I am all the Sith. And then she looks up at him and she goes quiet, and she's like, and I am all the Jedi. And does the same line and just blasts her own crazy amount of Force lightning. Maybe this time it could be, maybe hers now could be red. And she's the granddaughter of Palpatine after all. And with the Force Ghosts channeling her, it's this stupid amount of Force lightning in conjunction with the own lightning that Palpatine is sending her, and fires it back onto him, just like the lightsaber did. It's the same kind of premise. However, at this point, it's face-to-face. They're very close to each other. The Force Ghosts are all close to Palpatine, and they're just looking at him at this point. And he just gets obliterated, just the same way he did in the film. She gets blasted back, and she's dead. The Force Ghosts all vanish with the blast. Quiet. This is then when Ben comes back, revives her, and dies. And we get the same ending that we got. This, I feel like, would have been a really solid conclusion, not just to the sequel trilogy, because the way I look at it is like, okay, this is great for the sequel trilogy, but what does it really do for the entire saga as a whole? Not really much, right? For me, I feel like episode 1 to 6 really tied it well, right? For Anakin's legacy. This was more so like the children. And that's what George Lucas always wanted as well when he planned 9. He wanted to make something about the kids of Skywalker. So this, and that's even what Legends is as well. Of course, the characters are treated differently and such, like Luke, but nevertheless, it's still about another generation, the next one. And this would be the perfect conclusion to, I feel like, the entire saga as a whole. Anakin still, without a doubt, completes his legacy, fulfills the prophecy, as he did, once again, kill Sidious. And we could even have a scene in there where they're all powering Rey, and he takes one extra step forwards, in front of the Force Ghosts, and gives her that extra bit of oomph, that extra bit of power. And, that's the end of it. I feel like that would have really united a lot of the fandom. Now, the ending was still great. I still really enjoyed the film. And it was great for what we got, after episode 8. But I feel like this would have really, without a shadow of a doubt, put many of the fans who really have a problem with this film at ease. Because we would have got Anakin back. We would have gotten the Force Ghosts back. And it would have left so many more questions, even more, as to how did all of these Force Ghosts learn how to become a Force Ghost. Now, I don't really see many people questioning how Anakin became a Force Ghost. A lot of people seem to have a problem with, like, well, how did Mace Windu become a Force Ghost? How did Qui-Gon become a Force Ghost? How did all these people how did Ben become a Force Ghost, Now, in I believe it was the junior novelization, and I've made, I think, 3 duplicate videos pretty much of this topic, how Anakin became a Force Ghost. In the junior novelization, it was Dark Lord, the story of Darth, forgetting the title, I don't know what it was, but it was like a pink cover, and it was something about Vader and all. It was a really good book. I'm forgetting. I'll list it in the description below. It's Legends now. And it was explaining how when Anakin was dying, there was literally a split second which was stretched out into a long period of time where Obi-Wan was communing with him through the Force. And this was when he was with Luke just after Return of the Jedi, or during the Return of the Jedi, where he killed Palpatine and all that. And Obi-Wan was telling him, "We don't have much time. Don't waste time. if you don't follow my steps, if you don't learn from me as quickly as possible in this split moment, then you will not become a Force ghost and you will cease to exist entirely. So Anakin, shut up. They were having a Force communication kind of thing. And Obi-Wan tells him how to become a Force ghost. And it worked. And he turned into a Force ghost. And that's how he did it. So this could be the same way that, like Ben does it and maybe Mace Windu or whatever. There are other ways that they could obviously show that in canon, I guess. Because Qui-Gon taught Yoda, and Yoda was learning how to do this, so he could have maybe told Mace Windu as well. This is a different video for a different time. How Mace Windu became a Force ghost, theory. Or, Qui-Gon and all that stuff. Actually, Qui-Gon there's a canon explanation of that. Not to digress too much, but I know you guys like these longer videos and such. And so actually Qui-Gon in the Certain Point of View book materialized in the flesh as a Force ghost for the first time, so in canon. So it took him a very long time, he said, to learn how, but he did it. So there you go. And then I guess he went to teach Yoda how to do all that, because first he was just a voice. Now in the Clone Wars, of course, we see something different, but this is from the canon book, so it is what it is. A little bit inconsistent and confusing, possibly, but whatever. So with this ending, I would personally have enjoyed it a lot more, and I think it would have been a lot more connecting for a lot of the fans out there. Now, I'd like to know what you guys think about this. If you enjoyed it, if you didn't, how would you have it done? Would you even not have brought Palpatine back at all? A lot of people are saying, why would we even bring him back? Some people say, let's have Palpatine power Snoke as a Force ghost and play with Snoke's character a little more. Now, if Snoke was Darth Plagueis, that's where I really would have wanted this to go. But they brought him back. They brought Sidious back. That's fine. He's one of my favorite characters. But I would have liked to have seen him play out a little bit more. Also, it would have been cool to see him, take out some lightsabers and maybe fight. But we all know that would have ended very poorly for them. However, they could have choreographed that in certain ways. I don't really know, but maybe, him besting them and then just like kind of dancing around and losing and looking like they've never touched a lightsaber before, and as he just toys with them. But then that's dangerous, because then, Rey would have killed him with a lightsaber, possibly, if that's how they wanted to end it, and then she struck him down, right? And then he will live through her, as he said. So it really had to be Force lightning at the end of the day. And I think I really like my ending more. But the ending we got was great. It was just a little too quick for me and a little too impersonal. I feel like it could have been a little more interesting, but it is what it is. So let me know what you guys think down below. If you like this kind of an ending, cool. If you don't, cool. Let me know how you would want it to end, and if you enjoyed the ending as it was, like I did, but wanted to add more, then let me know too. All right. See you in the next video. Until then, remember, the Force will be with you always.